All right, Herc, got some news on Luis Suárez. He's retiring from international football. This was announced earlier Monday, confirming his last game for Uruguay will be Friday's World Cup qualifier against Paraguay in Montevideo. Suárez is 37 years old. He is Uruguay's all-time leading scorer with 69 goals from 142 games over a 17-year stretch. No shortage, Herculez, of memories of Luis Suárez in an Uruguay shirt. What's your favorite?
Oh, wow. In an Uruguay shirt?
Yep.
I mean, it's got to be the 2010 World Cup. And it's a very fond moment for me because I got to experience it being at the World Cup. And I remember that game. We had just lost to Ghana, the U.S. men's national team. Ghana goes on to play Uruguay. And all of Africa, the whole continent was rooting for Ghana. And you thought that Ghana would have overcame the circumstances to win that game until Suárez does what he did in this moment. He puts his hands out and blocks it like he's a goalkeeper, pretends it wasn't him, penalty called. And here you are witnessing what should be the downfall of Uruguay, only to see Ghana miss that penalty kick and Luis Suárez go from villain to hero, from the scapegoat, from the guy that should have been one of the worst moments in his life to all of a sudden a martyr. All of a sudden the reason why Uruguay isn't on the next round, and that Uruguay team, I mean, that was a team. Luis Suárez, Diego Forlan, but this guy in a blue jersey, this guy in any jersey, if it's Liverpool, if it's Barcelona, if it's Inter Miami, he's a killer. He's a straight killer. One of the best nines of his generation. I'm struggling to find nines that come close. I could only think of one, and I don't want to be unfair to Robert Lewandowski, but in my mind, the two greatest nines of this generation are Karim Benzema and Luis Suárez. The only exception is Luis Suárez has done it in multiple stops. Luis Suárez has been that player and transformed himself from finisher to facilitator, has transformed himself on every sense and has less of a polemic future outcome in the national team than a Karim Benzema, but I'm hard-pressed to find a better forward in his generation than Luis Suárez.
Yeah, so producer Beto would want me to mention Zlatan in there. There's a few guys, but Luis Suárez certainly...
Oh, time out. You're not putting... Hold on a second. Luis Suárez, club and national team. Benzema is the only one that comes close. With all due respect to Robert Lewandowski, how complete of a player he was, just a different level. Zlatan is Zlatan, but he's folklore, and I say this respectfully. Zlatan's one of the greatest forwards to play, but in this one right here, and trust me, I'm a massive fan of Zlatan, but Luis Suárez, oh, man. Why would producer Beto say Zlatan? That's interesting.
Herc said Zlatan is puro marketing, huh? Puro marketing. That is Herculez Gomez. Shots fired at Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
No shots fired. Zlatan's unbelievable. It's just Suárez he could do it all.
I like the memory you chose. I'm down with the 2010 moment because it's epic, and I think it also perfectly embodies like what Uruguayan soccer is about, right? Willing to do anything to win, and getting to the semifinals that way was just incredible. I'm with you that it's the right thing to do. I think that's where you're at. I would have done the same thing if I were in his shoes.
I don't know if I would have reacted that way.
I think it's genius what he did. I guess I'm saying I hope I would have reacted that way.
In hindsight, it's genius, but your immediate reaction isn't to put your hands out. It's a World Cup, Seb. Who wants to go out with the red card in a World Cup?
He knows the moment there. He knows that if that goes in, it's over. And he knows at least with the handball.
Or is that the picardía that he grows up with? You know, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would have had the street smarts there to do that. I don't know if I would have embraced the moment to know exactly how this plays out and take that chance. Luis Suárez did. He's cerebral. He's a finisher. He's a facilitator. He could play with any single player on this earth and rise to that level and be better than that level at times. And I'm talking about Messi. This is one of the most complete players I've ever seen. And I will repeat this. What separates him from who I think is the most complete nine that I've ever seen in Karim Benzema is his ability to do it in different situations. At Liverpool, What he did at Barcelona, what he did in Brazil, what he did when they were telling us he had a bad knees, and how he was going to struggle in Major League Soccer. Don't believe everything you hear, kids. And watching him just completely trash MLS defenders, albeit tactically, technically, whatever you want, physically very capable, seeing him do what he does, is one of the greatest players of his generation.
All right, speaking of moments, we would be remiss if we didn't mention what happened at the 2014 World Cup when, of course, he bit Giorgio Chiellini. But we were focusing on the positive there as we take a look back at his international career. His club career is still going, so that news was on Monday. Over the weekend, he scored not once but twice as Inter Miami hammered the Chicago Fire by a final score of 4-1. That means he now has 16 goals, Herc, and 5 assists in just 20 appearances for Inter Miami. He is 1 goal back of the MLS Golden Boot lead, despite, of course, missing all those games because of Copa Americas. So what's more impressive here? Luis Suárez lighting up the league at 37, or Inter Miami, Herc, in first place and running away with the Supporters' Shield, despite the fact they still have no Lionel Messi?
Listen, I know fans are going to jump on us here for hyping up Inter Miami. In their eyes, a team that's bent the rules and that the league has looked the other way for them to get certain players registered, certain players to go to Miami, et cetera, et cetera. While there may be some truth to that, and that's historically been Major League Soccer. I used to play for the Galaxy, and the Galaxy for a long time was heavily accused of having the rules bent in their favor. There are always these teams where these things happen, and I'm not condoning it. While that may be the case, I would have bet their success hinged on Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi leaves, and they almost got better. They were almost more difficult to play against. And with him, his strike partner, who was crushing teams, goes with them. And he's been in and out of that lineup, and they continue to grind out results. They're going to be the Supporters' Shield champion. They're going to be the most consistent, the best team throughout the course of a calendar year. LAFC and the Galaxy have made sure of that with the way they faltered in the last week and a half. That's going to happen. And Tata Martino, who a lot of people in this show love to crush, because of their Mexican allegiance to the Mexican national team. One beat here, the other one a producer, the other one some, frequent contributors from other shows, Pedrosa. While they would love to crush Tata Martino, he knows Major League Soccer. He knows ball. He knows what it takes to win here. He proved it with Atlanta United. He's proven it again with Inter Miami. We could say what we want about the true architects of the Atlanta United regime, the true architect of this going on right now with Miami. A massive piece in this is Tata Martino. And Tata Martino losing the players he's lost, Facundo Farias, losing the players he's lost like Redondo early on. He's going to lose Diego Gomez. He's going to lose insert name here, and he's going to replace it with the Rojas. He's going to replace it when Kramaski goes to the Olympics with another player in the midfield. Whatever the case may be, he gets the most out of this team, and they win. And they continue to win. So as good as Luis Suárez has been, and trust me, he has been very good, scary good, Inter Miami has been better.
I think I'm with you for the most part here. I think everything about Inter Miami has been impressive. I'll even start at the top of the list with Tata Martino, who I had my questions about. No doubt Luis Suárez has impressed and I think done more than what most of us expected. Certainly, even though I picked him to win the Golden Boot, I had my doubts early on when I saw him limping around the field. I certainly had my concerns about my Golden Boot pick at that moment. The team itself is exceptional. Everything's working for Inter Miami. My only concern here is that Messi's durability is starting to become a question. This is 13 games now, Herc, that they have played without Lionel Messi, which is bad for business, one. Obviously, the league needs Lionel Messi. Beyond just what Inter Miami needs, the league needs it. I'm sure you saw the news today about the drop in price for the television package. They want people to subscribe. They need Lionel Messi to help them get people to subscribe. And then beyond that, dude, as good as Inter Miami has looked, and they are going to run away with the Supporters' Shield, I can't get out of my head what happened to them, and I know they're a slightly different team, against a Rayados team in CONCACAF Champions League that we don't really hold, at the end of the day, in that high regard. And so for me, when they get to the brass tacks time of the season, because Supporters' Shield is nice, but you're probably going to have to go through Columbus in the Eastern Conference, and you're probably going to have to go through LAFC or a high-flying Galaxy right now out of the West. I don't think that they can beat those teams without Lionel Messi, Herc. Do you? I wouldn't pick them today.
It was 2-0 versus Columbus without Messi. They pooped the pooch there. You could blame Tata Martino on that one. You know, team ran out of legs. It's a reality, but they were 2-0 on the Columbus Crew in Lower.com Field. That is a reality. So if you're asking me right now if they can beat any of those teams, yeah, I think they can. Listen, the Galaxy, night and day from what we saw in the past. You know, they're playing with house money. LAFC, they've certainly got a choker's mentality about them when it comes to finals, when it comes to these big games, and that's not my opinion. Those are numbers. Look at the finals. Columbus Crew, that would probably be my pick, right? But who comes out on top beating Inter Miami? But you saw what Inter Miami did against them. And if you're going to say they can do that with Messi and beat Inter Miami, if it comes down to it like that with Messi, I don't think that's the case. I think if Columbus give Inter Miami the liberties they gave him with the Lionel Messi, this game is over. This game is over. I don't know. It's tough, but I wouldn't discount Inter Miami right now. I wouldn't. I learned my lesson.
Messi needs to get back. I got my big futures play on him for, or my primo has the big futures play on him for MVP. And those MVP chances.
They can't be MVP, right?
Well, I mean, if he doesn't play the rest of the regular season, it's going to be hard. But yeah, you're probably right. Even with that,
yeah.
13 and 12. Is that what we're at for goals and assists throughout his games so far this year? It's still a pretty impressive season, even if he doesn't play another minute. But it looks like he will be back, hopefully sooner rather than later, for Inter Miami.